Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's intraday analysis video brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. All right, into the market analysis we go today. Markets are higher again today. No surprise here. Why? Because the volume is light and the Federal Reserve continues to keep yields at minute levels. And that's what the Fed printing of money is ultimately doing, folks. It's kept yields on the 10-year, on the 30-year at subpar levels to the point where no one really wants to invest in those vehicles because you can barely beat inflation if you can even get close. And the average investor gets screwed even more because what are their options? I mean, most of them aren't investing in bonds necessarily. They're looking at savings accounts or CDs, which are barely paying. If you're lucky, you'll find a CD for 1%. So what is that doing? I mean, it's ultimately pushing investors across the board into stocks because it's the only place you have a chance to do well in terms of return. And it's self-fulfilling prophecy because as more and more people go in, the markets continue to go up. As the markets go up, people think, oh, well, I have to be in that, therefore they put more money or they put money in there. And it just kind of is a rotating circle of musical chairs. Now, eventually the music will stop and there will be ultimately a lot of investors left without a seat. But when will that happen? That's a great question. We could literally see that happen in a year, 2 years from now, maybe next month. I mean, it's a little tough to know for certain when the bubble will burst. Do we have a bubble? Yes, but it's still in the mid-level. I don't think it's, at least according to everything I see, I don't see it as being at that end point yet where we're going to burst. So you have to just understand that, and you have to trade nimbly. And that's, again, what we've been doing here in the research center. And, again, we just continue to make money. I shorted a new stock today beautifully, and already we're in the money. That was today. A trade alert went out, and we're not going to look for a huge gain on it, probably like 5% or so. But again, hitting 5% winners over the course of a year is equal to huge amounts. I mean, just to give you guys a sense, this year on the swing trades that we've given out in the research center thus far, the net percentage gain, when you take all the percentage gains and subtract the percentage losses, it's 140% gain. And there's, I think, been 7 losses or something like that, and 8 losses, something like that, and about 28 winners, 29 winners this year in 2013. So, again, it's just about trading. If you want to go long, you go long. You find the right setup. If you want to go short, you go short. You just have to find the right setup. And then the money will be made regardless. All right, let's go over a couple things here. By the way, you have a small bearish pattern on the spiders here. If I zoom in, you can see it right here. Small bearish pattern development. The only question is, in this volume environment where we've done 59,000 at around 2:30 p.m., is there enough volume to actually see this play out? And that I'm suspect on. Even if we downtick, I mean, you're going to have support at this trend line at the 50 MA, so it's a little tough, especially with this volume, to see any sort of major downside in this market, I think, unless you have some sort of catalyst. Some sort of catalyst is a different story. But, again, with what we're seeing now on tap, it's definitely a little bit on the hard side. All right, going into a couple different stocks. Google is continuing to rocket higher today, up $11. Right now, this is off the highs of the day by about $5. But really, right now, it's taken out the previous all-time high pivot right here. That was a couple days ago. And it had a nice pullback yesterday, but today it's up again. And you have to think at this stage of the game, all right, at this stage of the game, you got to believe that Google's probably heading to that 900 even number. But I think at 900, you get a great opportunity. So really just keep an eye on that 900 level. If we do get there in the near term, look for some very nice plays. All right, a couple other stocks in motion today. Apple, after a pullback yesterday, we are starting to see a little bit more upside. Apple is continuing to be in heavy resistance, though. This pivot top right here, double top, is still huge resistance. I do think the way the market's trading by Friday, this probably hits this level. But even here, you have a gap fill that filled. So you can see anywhere, in my opinion, I said this to my members, and I think I said this even to you guys yesterday, anywhere in this range right here, you're going to have significant Apple resistance. Now, by the way, just because we have a bubble and I say it's not ready to burst yet, doesn't mean we can't have a small pullback. All right, small pullbacks have occurred over the last few months. We've been able to capitalize on them beautifully, and I believe that you'll continue to see them. I think you'll even be able to possibly see as big as 5-10% pullbacks along the way as this bubble continues to build. Okay, but I think it's important to recognize that I don't think the bubble will truly burst where you have that epic decline until probably 2014 at the earliest. All right, so just keep that in the back of your mind. I think that's very important. Other stocks in motion today. JPM continues to rally. This was a great trade in the research center, folks. Just to zoom out and show you guys, we shorted JPM here. All right, right in this range. You had the bearish pattern. See this beautiful in spirit of bear flag. It dropped. We took $1.85 in profits right here, and then ultimately that was perfect. So we were short right in this range. Comes down, we cover, and then look at the vertical move. So that was perfect in terms of getting out at the right point. And again, the technicals told us that, and also understanding the market conditions told us to make sure to move out at that correct point. Okay? All right, let me just see what else is going on here. Goldman Sachs up 92 cents. Chevron's actually turned negative today, so that's kind of interesting to see a little bit more weakness on Chevron. Chevron's inching back down. I am actually swing trading this on the short side, and honestly, I love this setup on Chevron. Chevron's a sweet setup on the short side here, especially showing the weakness today on another upswing in the markets. A couple other stocks to look at, or before we look at some other stocks, let's take a look at gold today. Gold up $2 on the GLD. That's a big move. That's a very nice move on the GLD. This is a bullish pattern. I've been talking about it to my members. Upside potential is probably the 50 MA right here. All right, so look for that 50. I can erase these other trend lines. This area is your next stop, in my opinion, right in here. And again, I do think there's a decent chance it gets there, although we'll have to follow and just kind of take it step by step. All right. SLV is also kind of, well, it's really off its lows today, but really the SLV is just on the flat line. It's interesting that gold's leading silver today. No gains in silver. Silver is now the one you would expect if you have a good, strong economy. So that's kind of interesting in the overall theme of things about why you're not seeing silver participating more in a move up today. Silver on the bounce has really lagged. If you put up the GLD next to the SLV, here's the GLD. I mean, look at the rally this thing's had off these lows. Tremendous move up. And then look at SLV. I mean, SLV's barely bounced off those lows. So, the whole idea here is that supposedly you have tons of growth in the economy and things are great, but obviously silver's not confirming that. So we have to kind of keep that in mind, and might tell us that you could be due for a small pullback in the near future in this market. I actually have it penciled in for next week to be a down week, but again, I'm going to give my members more calls off of that towards the end of this week over the next day or so, and we'll position ourselves to profit off of it beautifully. All right. USO, which is the oil trade, having a nice pop here. Now, the USO is tagging a resistance trend line here. Let me just show it to you now again. Taking this high pivot, just draw it straight through, and look at that. So nice little trend line right there. That is a beautiful hit. Although, again, I don't think it's a short there. I think you probably get just a little bit higher, and I do like a short at this level, though. This level looks good to me in terms of a short. Okay. Amazon's flat to positive. We have Baidu's trading up another $3.88. Tremendous bounce on Baidu here. Let me just erase some of these trend lines we don't need. But look at this, 3-bar surge. And interestingly enough, you're right above this pivot high. If this closes above, it could be a strong standing, although it wouldn't be a long. But if it closes below, I'd expect a pullback. So watch the closes. Does it close above this high pivot right here? That would give us a good little idea. Couple stocks in motion today. FIO, Fusion IO, big drop today off its lows. Just again, poor news, poor earnings. A lot of these stocks out there just not having much luck in terms of beating revenue or beating earnings. Zillow, another one reported yesterday. Take a look at Zillow today, down over $6. I called this out yesterday. I basically said to my members in the Intra Day Stock Chat, I said, listen, look at the stock from 2013. The stock alone has gone from $28 to $63. All right, almost $64 at the high yesterday. Based on what we know logically, based on what we know about valuations, do we really think that the business of Zillow is going to produce results on earnings that are going to validate a 115% move in 4 months? I highly doubt it. Not when you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company. Now, if you were talking about a $10 million company, yeah, I mean, one good piece of news, we could do it. But not when you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company. And sure enough, Zillow taking a hit today. I think it'll easily come down to the 50 over the next couple days, maybe get a bounce there. But honestly, at some point, this will correct big time. Although I think short term, it's not ready to do the big time correction yet either. Let me just see if there's anything else, but I think that's nearing the end. Let's just jump back to the spiders here. This is the spiders daily chart. if we go to the intraday, look at that. So you had the bearish pattern, and you just dipped into this little trend line right here. Now, can we go through this trend line and tag the 50 MA? But again, you are short-term support right here. That's a classic bear flag underneath the 20 MA, and sure enough, it plays out beautifully there. And by the way, we're slowly making lower highs here as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this is starting to tell us maybe there's a down day in store for tomorrow. So keep in mind, tomorrow into Friday, maybe possible downside. I don't think major though. I just want to make that clear. It's not, by no means major, but maybe just a little bit of a pullback. Markets again are short-term, ridiculously extended, and due for a pullback. All right, folks. Take care. Have a great rest of the day. Come join us here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. Take the 7-day free trial and start profiting with the pros. 140% net gain. I mean, can't beat that. And again, we have some good swing trades that are rocking it right now. Join us, get those trade alerts, and start making money with us. Take care.